All right, meanwhile, let's bring in Kellyanne Conway. We got lots to talk about on this Friday morning. Good morning to you, Kellyanne.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, and happy anniversary, Steve. That's really amazing.
Thank you very much. Hey, we know the president has been tweeting this morning. He was tweeting yesterday as well, and a lot of them had to do yesterday, two of them did, with a morning show that spends pretty much all day long criticizing the president. This morning, they have a response to his tweets. We thought we would play a little of that right now. Listen to this, Kellyanne.
We're okay. The country's not.
It is unbelievably alarming that this president is so easily played. He's so easily played by a cable news host.
The guy that's in the White House now is not the guy we knew 2 years ago.
No.
Somebody at the top of his campaign last summer said to me, we're all really worried about his emotional state.
So that's kind of the tenor. They're worried that the President of the United States may not all be there upstairs.
Well, it's incredible to watch people play armchair psychologist, outwardly ridiculing the president's physicalities, his mental state, calling him names that you wouldn't want your children to call people on a playground. You would punish them for doing that. And then all of a sudden feigning shock when he wants to fight back and defend himself and hopefully change the conversation, because the conversation right now is a one-way conversation of toxicity. A lot of these people on TV do not criticize his policies. They do not criticize his actions and his beliefs. They criticize him and the office of the president and its current occupant. And right behind me in this White House, the president every single day is fighting for all Americans, including America's women, millions of whom do not have health care, millions of whom are looking for jobs, millions of whom are one paycheck away from economic desperation. He's here to help them. It doesn't get covered. We did a little analysis last night at my behest, 160 tweets in the month of June by the president. And roughly about 120 of the 160 dealt with policy, bilateral meetings, what the president is doing here at the White House, what the cabinet is doing, news that he sees that he wants to convey to other people, foreign policy, ISIS, you name it, terrorist attacks. That gets very little coverage. What gets coverage is these cherry-picked social media uses, whereas the president is conveying his ideas and his policies to the American people through his vast social media platform, because the middleman can't be trusted to connect Americans with the information they need. I do not like the way the president is spoken about for hours upon hours upon hours. I think it's really corrosive for the body politic, and it is also it also just denies people information. You know, you saw the network studies. You've covered it on your show, and I want to repeat it again in the context of this conversation, ladies and gentlemen. From May 17th to June 20th, according to the Media Research Center, the network spent 353 minutes on Russia, FBI, Comey. This fantastical charade where there's no proof of anything, where you've got Obama administration officials now saying it didn't change a single vote. There was no evidence of collusion. But 353 minutes. You had less than a minute on tax reform, less than 5 minutes on jobs, less than 3 minutes on infrastructure, maybe 17 big total minutes in 5 weeks' time in network coverage on health care. What do you think affects most of America, including, if not especially, America's women? What a couple of people on TV want to say about the president as insults and innuendo and questioning his fitness for office, or what he's doing for those women on policy. And we come to work here every day, a lot of women, and we believe in what this man is trying to do for America, and we're here for those reasons.
Kellyanne, you're talking about the networks covering Russia. This morning we were talking about the networks covering these tweets versus how much time they spent on Kate's Law and the Sanctuary City bill that just passed in the House. You had NBC that spent almost 3 minutes on the tweets and 26 seconds on Kate's Law and Sanctuary City. ABC did not even cover Kate's Law or Sanctuary City, and neither did CBS. But we are wondering, when he does decide to tweet like he did yesterday, do y'all have a meeting where you decide and you discuss it, or does he just do it?
Well, the president is able, I mean, he's the one who controls his social media platform. He reaches 100 million people, as I understand it, through these various social media platforms, he tells me. And it's his way of cutting out the middleman. The middleman doesn't like it because it's his direct connection. I call it the democratization of information. And often, I want to repeat, often it is the case that the president is using his social media platform to tell the veterans that they now are seen as one patient across the DOD and the VA, to tell them they have a hotline here at the White House they can call 24/7. He's telling Americans that after 7.5 years of Obamacare, lying to people about keeping their plans, keeping their doctors, forcing 20 million people to opt out of Obamacare, 6.5 million to pay a tax to the IRS instead of going on there, telling people 83 insurers have left the exchanges, 19 of the 23 co-ops have failed. He uses that social media platform to do that. And speaking of Kate's Law, less than 2 days ago, right here behind me at the White House, we had those parents of the children who were murdered by illegal aliens who had multiple deportations, multiple felony convictions in many cases. They came here as profiles encouraged, and one mother sat there and said her only child had been murdered and that she wants action. She sees this president as a man of action. You think she's worried about how people insult him gratuitously? You think she cares about just the raw comments that come out of some people's mouths? She cares about action so that no other mother ever has to suffer the unspeakable loss that she has suffered.
Kellyanne, how do you respond to the sexism claims? They're saying that he's sexist by going after Mika. As a woman, how do you respond to that?
As a woman who knows him and works for him, I'm very pleased at how he treats women in this workplace, the White House. I'm a mother of 4 small children, 4 school-age children. His daughter has children. His two daughters and his wife are 3 of the strongest, most intelligent, most courageous women I've ever met, and they're all willing to be public servants at this point. Tiffany, of course, is in law school. Here's somebody, Donald Trump is somebody, I go by what people do, not what people say about them. This is a man who for decades has been elevating women to the highest positions. He took a chance on women in real estate in Manhattan when no one else would, when it was really a man's game. And ever since then, he's been elevating and promoting women at the Trump Corporation, the Trump campaign, certainly, the Trump cabinet, the Trump White House. This is a man who's doing what he can do on behalf of America's women. Look, we inherited a big mess. We have people, we have millions of women without jobs, millions of women without health care, millions of women worried about the advance of ISIS around the globe, and millions of women who rejected a woman for president because they felt this man spoke to their concerns. And you know, it's really rich and really something to hear about claims of sexism. I have kept my mouth shut under never-ending assaults on me based on my gender. I have kept my mouth shut. I've had to explain to crying children why total strangers or people who used to pretend they were nice to us would say the things about their mother based on her gender that has the grounding in nothing. But you know what? I'm here for a bigger purpose. None of us are here for us. We're here as public servants for the American people, and you have to learn to swallow a lot to do that. I see the way America reacts to this president. I see the way the military, the first responders, our troops, our veterans are so respectful toward the fact that he is here doing things for them. It's bigger than all of us.
Kellyanne, turning to policy, you've got the 2 immigration laws that are passed. You've got the travel ban going into effect. A lot of good victories going on. There's still some uncertainty in the Senate. They're still hoping to get to a deal. We had the president tweeted this morning that, hey, if they can't reach a deal, maybe you split it up and you do a clean repeal first, which the Senate has voted for once already, and then you do the rest later. Where's the White House right now on repeal and replace?
That's a very strong possible alternative strategy, Pete, and because we know in the 2015 bill that all but one Republican senator did vote for certain items that are in this legislation as well. They voted to do away with the taxes and penalties in Obamacare. They actually allowed, as I read it, very little, if any, Medicaid expansion going into 2018. The current bill increases Medicaid funding over the next decade by $71 billion. And so there are a lot of principles there, the HSAs that they voted for. You can repeal and then replace later, but we're very confident here at the White House that health care gets done this summer, followed in quick succession by tax reform.
Hey, Kellyanne, a quick exit question. The president also tweeted this morning, crime and killings in Chicago have reached such epidemic proportions that I am sending in federal help. What federal help is he sending in?
So I'll let him discuss that with his team. I've not discussed with him this morning specifically that. He has addressed this in the past. He's met with Mayor Rahm Emanuel. But look, we can't turn a blind eye. This is the man who said his first duty is the safety and security of all Americans. And if he can help and give full force and effect as the president to communities that are suffering, they're suffering gang and crime and drug violence, then I know he'll want to do that. He's here to help people.
Something's got to be done. All right, Kellyanne, thank you very much for joining us on this busy Friday.
Enjoy the weekend. Happy Independence Day to our great nation.
That's absolutely right. To our men and women who have served this great country.
And we'll have the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, on later in the program. We'll ask him that very same question. What kind of federal support may be going there?
All right. Meanwhile, Peter?
That's right. Republicans racing to strike a health care deal today ahead of their holiday recess.
But can they get it done? Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price on that next.
And Bernie Sanders just weighed in on the FBI's investigation into his wife. Here's a hint. Bernie, not happy.
Cranky.